All right, so we'll call this meeting, Kent Park and Rec Commission, to order at 7:02. Hi, Kate, Blythe, Michael.
Hi.
Ellen,
Guys, hi.
Can I please have a motion to accept the agenda? Any changes? I would like to add the start discussion of a teen center. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but I'd like to bring that up. If we could add that as new business A. Anyone else have anything? All right, so could I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Thanks, Michael. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Hi for Blythe and Kate. Thank you. All those in favor, any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Thank you. Approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of March 21st. Have a motion to accept.
Motion to accept the March 23rd meeting minutes.
Thank you. And a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Hey.
Any discussion, changes that need to be made? All right, can I have a, all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Jared, any correspondence?
Yes, quite a bit of correspondence. So I will start with Mr. Mellis's email since he is here on the Zoom. And as you guys remember, he had emailed us regarding the ruts and the runoff issues at Kent Commons. Part of the work that Ed Mattson has been doing as our seasonal maintenance contractor is taking care of that. You know, kind of raking out the entire trail to get it back into a good shape. So Robert wrote us an email that he would like shared, which I am opening now. And he simply said, they're addressed to Kent Park and Rec. I want to thank the people who worked on the pathways at Kent Commons during the past week. It was a delight to walk the pathway that no longer is strewn with weeds and erosion. Most importantly, however, is the feeling of responsiveness to fixing a real hazard. Now, I realize this is a temporary fix since the reason behind the erosion remains, but this is a great first step on the road to solving the problem of rerouting the surface of the runoff. Thank you, Robert Millis. So I think it's always good when we hear the good along with the negative. And Robert, I thank you for reaching out. And I know Ed Mattson appreciated the compliment. He's been working hard on that. So.
Okay. What else you got?
All right. All right. So next I am going to go back to 3/22, which was the day after our previous meeting. This is correspondence between Abigail Hanby, who's a commissioner, and the board. I mean, the rest of the commission, as well as myself. She requested that I read the email, and I'll also read my response as part of that correspondence. So following the meeting, Abigail wrote to the commission, "Hi all. I'd already let Keith know." Oh, wait, that's me. I'm sorry. That was my response. Sorry. Let's try that again. On the 22nd, Abigail wrote, "Hi all. I've given the laser tag proposal a lot of thought and wholeheartedly do not believe it is an appropriate activity to hold in a public, bolded park. Anyone, children or adults playing with black gun-shaped objects in a public setting could easily be misinterpreted. When conducted in an enclosed public venue or private venue outdoors, there could be no mistake of the intended activity by those passing by. I do think more activities which engage adolescents, particularly those who are passionate about gaming and strategy, should be a priority for our commission. I commend Jared for thinking outside the box with this proposal. I'm aware that I voted yay in our sessions. I did because of what I noted in the paragraph above. If I am able to rescind this vote, I would like to. If not, I'd like this email read at our next meeting, which is this one. I strongly recommend Jared and Keith outline how they will ensure clarity of intent when this program goes live. And then I responded to her email the next day or 2 days later on the 24th. And I wrote to the commission on a whole. Hi all, I know we're not supposed to communicate via email. So Lynn, if needed, please let me know if I should include this email for FOI parameters, but I still felt that Abigail's comments deserved to be addressed by me with the entire commission looped in. Wanted to do so in a timely fashion. Gave this all careful thought. I briefly spoke with Lynn and then Abigail. And while because of my experiences, I do not share the same concerns as Abigail, I of course respect her viewpoints and understand that it's very likely that others in the community may feel this way too. Thus, what we will be doing to address those concerns. 1, I made Keith aware of everything and we will be meeting to determine the best location that allows for playability, but also isn't slam pow in your face. Just to follow up on that, we agreed on Emery Park. We're going to do it down the hill. Unless you're at the park, you're really not going to kind of see it while you're driving by. 2, if we are successful with getting the league off the ground, a screen printer is going to make us 2 large signs that say laser tag today or something similar, so that when people do see us there, they understand that it's an event and an activity. And 3, just as we did in Kent, New York, we'll let the local troopers know here in Kent, Connecticut about the league and the schedule. That way they aren't alarmed either. I believe this will work and will allow for everyone to feel good about what will end up being a fantastic program, great addition to Parks and Rec. Of course, if there are any additional concerns, please let me know. And that was basically that. All right. Anything we wanted to discuss or move on to the next correspondence?
Move on to the next one.
All right. The next one was emailed to me on 3/31. It was attention John Grant and Commission. Hi, John. After seeing you the other day, I wanted to let you know my observations of the drainage in Kent Common over the last 18 years from the vantage point of, and he gave his address, which I redacted, after a heavy rain. Water comes down through the ditch from the culvert and entrance of park within its banks until about the last 100 to 150 feet, when the lawn levels out to the edge of the ditch and the water then overflows onto the grass. The rain is heavy enough, much of the water never makes its way to the pipes that go under South Common Road, but flow into my parking area adjacent to the park, and over to the stop sign and into Route 7. My fear is that someday we'll have a heavy rain and the water will enter my house basement, as it has gotten close in the past. Much of the reason for this is because the lawn is level with drainage ditch, and the water just takes the path of least resistance. I think a simple solution for this might be to do the following: dig a drainage ditch the last 150 plus or minus feet to remove silt buildup over the years, remove trees by pipes and regrade, create a slight berm and ponding area to encourage water to flow to the pipes. My observation is that when water ponds in this area, it usually drains very quickly into the ground. So even if a little didn't make it to pipes, confining it to one area would be okay because of the sand, gravel, soil. And then the last item would be to remove silt on discharge side of pipes, which is the south side or the field. Hope this is helpful finding an ultimate solution. Sincerely, Bob Indorf. Okay, shall I keep going?
You have more? More
One more.
correspondence? Okay.
Final correspondence. I just received this yesterday night. It had been in my spam. I did receive it earlier, but I didn't obviously see it until yesterday. Okay, the email was sent to me, addressed to Jared, from Suzanne Charity. Hello, Jared. Congratulations on your new post as Park and Rec Director. Just going to skim this. Basically, I just happened on the link below, which is regarding a grant with H&R Block regarding park cleanup, which I am going to check out. But of more importance, I searched the town website for a copy of the Park and Recreation Master Plan, but could only find reference to it. What I'm concerned about is the absence of a proper functioning town swimming pool in a convenient location, which may be covered in the master plan. So pardon me if it is, I am just unaware of it. If not, taking the long view, I personally hope you will be able to advocate for funding for a proper heated swimming pool, changing facilities in town, perhaps near the tennis courts. One that would be great for young children learning to swim, and a much needed magnet for older kids and teenagers, as well as the many seniors that live in town and would benefit from access to a pool. In other words, the antithesis of Emery Park. My estimation, and that of many others, Emery Park is useless for swimming as it, and then she bullet points a number of things. Useless for swimming as it, one, requires lots of parent time and participation to deliver and pick up children, since there's no way for kids to get there on their own, on foot or by bike, on the very dangerous access road to the park, which has no sidewalk or safe shoulders. Bullet point two, the pool is very cold, murky, and full of scary wiggling things, so not at all attractive for young beginners or anyone else for that matter. Bullet point three, the pool and steep surrounding area are expensive and hard to maintain, especially difficult to navigate for older people. Bullet point four, it's likely difficult to find swim instructors, lifeguards enthusiastic about freezing in a yucky pool or capable of encouraging children to be enthusiastic about swimming there. As a resident taxpayer, I'd love to have an attractive, well-maintained, in-town pool available for local children to use, for adults and seniors who like to swim laps, do aqua aerobics, or just take a dip, for my own grandchildren to enjoy when visiting. One where parents, grandparents could leave their children under supervision in order to do local errands or return to work while kids are having swimming lessons or just enjoying recreational swim. A pool with easy access and good footing, unlike Emery Park, would also be a godsend for our elder population, for the handicapped who could get much needed benefit from a heated pool. Please share these concerns and aspirations with the Park and Rec Commission and consider planning and execution of a proper pool as an important goal for the town, instead of wasting valuable funds trying to prop up Emery Park, make it into something it can never be. I would think that unspent funds earmarked for Parks and Rec in the capital budget would go a long way towards achieving that goal. With hope for the future of pleasant swimming in Kent, Zan Charity. And that is the last of the correspondence.
All right. Anything in your director's report?
No, we're going to cover it all here.
Okay. Any public comment? With chiming in, raising their hand. Okay. Move down to old business, online registration and program management software discussion.
Okay, so as you all know, we've discussed this several times in the past. We've officially received 3 quotes from 3 different companies, which I sent out. One was from MyRec, one was from Civic Rec, and one was from Rec Desk. And basically, to keep it short and sweet, I think all 3 of these software companies have good platforms. As I've said before, they wouldn't be continuing to do business if they didn't. And I have checked references on all 3 of the companies, and all of them got positive reviews. Basically, Civic Rec came in with the highest quote, Rec Desk the second highest, and MyRec came in with the least expensive quote. And it's my recommendation to you guys that we, pending the commission, the Board of Finance accepting our budget with an allocation for online registration, pending that, I would request that the commission approve the contract with MyRec, and you know, basically we execute it in as timely a fashion as possible.
What's the cost difference between MyRec and Rec Desk?
So MyRec does not have an implementation fee. It's a straightforward 2,990. So yeah, I saw Kate's look there. It's $2,995 a year fee, and that is soup to nuts, all inclusive. Once again, no implementation fee. Whereas Civic Rec, which obviously you all know I have used before and do think highly of, there is a $4,725 yearly fee, along with another $3,113 implementation fee.
And what about rec desk?
Rec desk came in right in the middle. They do not have an implementation fee, but it is a $4,800 yearly fee.
Okay. I thought you said rec desk was the least expensive. I must have
No,
misunderstood.
I'm sorry. My rec was the least expensive.
Okay.
Hey, Jared, I have one question for you. The town has been having a hard time with the tax collector and the appraisers as far as using a system they have in the office right now. Would this cause a backlog of more delays on the computers, or?
No, actually, what's great about this, John, is it basically all exists in the cloud. All of the information is downloadable at any point in time, running reports, getting rosters, etc., which of course I will do. It basically all exports to a spreadsheet. But in terms of all of the processing, it isn't done on the computer itself. It's done on a web-based platform. So we will not have to worry about it bogging down any of the systems currently at Town Hall.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Would someone like to make a motion to accept my rec?
I'll make the motion that the Park and Rec sign an agreement with MyRec based on the information that we got and the price that they supplied us with.
A second, please. Thank you, Abigail. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. All right, moving down to spring and summer program. We'll start with youth baseball and softball.
All right, registration's going very well. We're up to about 40 kids. We did an open registration night on the last day of basketball. Abigail and I did that, and it was really successful. We had something like 28, 29 people sign up right then and there at the cafeteria. Next day I went to the office, deposited all the cash we took in. It was a really smooth process. And then we've received several by mail and drop off outside of those times. So don't really have a whole lot to report besides that. Just that things are moving along well. I started getting some new equipment. I was at Walmart. I purchased a whole bunch of new bats. Actually got some pretty good deals on them, T-ball and coach pitch aged bats. And then I am going to order some balls and some, other coach related gear, and we should be all ready to rock and roll when the time comes. And, at this point, I think we're looking at starting probably after we return from the spring break the school has. And then we'll just basically go right through the end of the school year.
Jared, do we have a day of the week or days of the week at this point?
No, not yet. Once we figure out who's going to be coaching, I hope to have that ironed out and we'll get that info out. I know Jerry Decker had expressed interest in coaching for the T-ball. I'll probably do a little coaching with the 7 and 8s. Bethany Keck said she'd help me with that as well. So basically, once I can kind of get all those minds together, we'll figure out what dates and when things are going to go. The Start Smart program was already given a date, as was the softball clinic, I believe. But I know softball, we haven't had any signups yet, unfortunately.
Great. So it'll start after the KCS spring break, which is the week of the 18th, and day of the week is TBD.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other questions on that? All right, we'll move down to the minor league baseball game trip.
Okay, yeah. This one I thought would be pretty cool. We included it as part of our survey when we surveyed the parents about baseball and softball. And one of the questions was if we were to run a trip at the end of the season, how many people would be interested? And overwhelmingly, the response was yes, even though I made it, basically clear that we wouldn't be able to provide transportation. Maybe at some point in the future we could do a bus trip, but I don't want to bite off more than I could chew with that because those are hard to coordinate. So I have been in touch with the Hartford Yard Goats, and they have a really good deal where basically it's, they reserve a section of seats for you. You do have to pre-buy them, but they are only $12 a ticket. And he basically said, we could start with just a few tickets, and if we get more interest, then you can order more tickets. So it is a pretty easy process. And, you know, even just thinking about, let's say only 5 families of 4 wanted to go, you already got 20 tickets right there. So I'm sure we could make this work. Like I said, there was a lot of enthusiasm about it. So he and I have a date to speak again this week, and I'll have more info when that's said and done. But just wanted to kind of give you guys the little gist of what I was looking to do.
Awesome.
Any
Sounds like
questions?
fun.
All right, we'll go down to the extravaganza reminder.
Yep, I just wanted to remind everyone who is watching or will be, our extravaganza is this Saturday, 12 o'clock at the Kent Town Hall. Obviously, we're looking at rain right now, so if we do get rained out, we will post and email and do everything we can to get the word out, and then it would just take place on Sunday at 12 o'clock. So that's Saturday the 10th, or if it rains out, Sunday the 11th. I also wanted to see if anyone was interested in coming to help out at all. You guys, I would love to have you all there. So shameless plug, putting you all on the spot.
Any
I can
questions
go.
How
or
many
follow-up?
people did you say you had registered?
As of today, we have 118 registered.
How many people were you advised to plan for ahead of registration?
When I spoke with someone, I was told about 40 or 50. So I'm really glad we did the online sign up, because I would have underbought terribly. So it's worked out really well. And then obviously, whenever you do an online sign up like that, you got to account for the fact that there's going to be day of people. So, you know, I'd say maybe done 10%. So we are all stocked up and ready to go. I feel comfortable that even if we have 150 kids come out, we'll be able to do it. And I got a bunch of volunteers lined up. So we've already kind of walked around, figured out where we're going to park people, etc. So I'm feeling very confident and comfortable in how the event's going to run. It's going to be chaotic, because that's what egg hunts are. They're just mass chaos, but it should be fun. And we have some organizations who are going to be coming and helping out too, which is great.
What kind of help do you need?
Generally just, you know, we're going to set up a few tents, and basically when they crack open their eggs, if they have a gold coin, they can trade it in for like a nice prize or a bigger prize or whatever. So we're going to set up tables with all the goodies to give out, set up tents. We got to put all the toys and eggs and candy out, and you know, basically set up. So anybody who wants to come out and help kind of, you know, help with the fun stuff, that would be great.
All right. I'm giving it a maybe. I'll let you know.
All right, I'll take a maybe any day.
Sounds like it's going to be a great way to see a lot of people in the community. Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, you know, this is really the first big event that Park and Rec has done since COVID. So I think we're really gonna, give people something to be happy about.
Awesome. It's awesome, Jared.
Concert series,
Oh,
anything?
Kate, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You asked what we need. I also need someone to be the Easter Bunny. So if you want to come out and be the Easter Bunny.
I just know there's so many people in town that would do such a better job than me. But thanks for your confidence, though, Jared. I appreciate it.
Anything on the concert series?
Yeah, I met with Connie, and we just basically started going over the preliminaries. And it sounds like, from what I understand, and you guys can, you know, chime in, that there's kind of like 6 or 7 bands that have done this for several years. So it's more or less, we're going to kind of do what we've always done. I'll obviously add my own little spice to it or whatever else, but more or less, it seems like this is kind of like the bands are the bands. It's not like I'm really going out looking for new bands, right? Am I clear on that?
That's kind of how we've rolled for the last, since I've been on the commission.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Connie said
I
she's going to
know-
get me all the contacts, and we just have to decide on a day of the week and the schedule, and also what bands can do what days, which she said can be a little frustrating at times. So
This is just to plant the seed, but I remember last year when I volunteered, there was talk of this vision of kids playing during the concerts and blowing bubbles and dancing. So perhaps we can supplement with some things for kids during it. Might draw a larger crowd.
Absolutely. I think that makes a ton of sense because again, Connie and I were saying the same thing. Generally, when it comes to concerts, the adults are the people who want to go. The kids come along, but it's not like they're like, Mommy, I want to go see the Algorithmics. It's generally that's the adults that want to. So yeah, I think that's something we'll definitely have to brainstorm on for sure.
Anything else on concerts? Now we'll move on to movies.
Okay, so we brought this up and discussed this briefly a few weeks back, and I just wanted to revisit it again. I think it would be really cool to show a few movies over the summer. I've already been in touch with the library, and libraries get a lot of perks that Parks and Rec and other organizations don't. One of which is they basically can show any film without having to pay to show it, because they're a part of some kind of educational association or whatever. And so we were talking about teaming up to do some movies. And what I'd like to do is there are a few rec departments that I'm familiar with that have screens, etc. And one of which I've already talked to and said we'd be able to borrow the screen and projector until we're able to get our own, because they are very expensive. And basically, we'd set up just like the concert series where we'd have a few nights dedicated to a few specific movies. I'd like to make them family themed movies. Once again, going back to the concert series, that no matter what is always going to lend itself to an older crowd. The family movies will kind of cover that other, other side. And it's even possible to do both on the same night because it needs to be dark in order to show the movie, but you're going to have the concert when it's still light out. So there's a lot of different ways we can approach this, but basically I just wanted to see if I could kind of get some kind of hey, go forward with it, Jared, to start planning, start, asking people in the community, what kind of movies do you want to see and this and that. But I wanted to go through the right channels before we started.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, they usually are. We used to do them in my old town all the time, and it was a blast.
Yeah,
Except
sounds
when
good.
it got on those humid nights, then it was pretty nasty. But
It's part of the fun.
Got my vote. I think it sounds great.
Hey, we'll move on down to park updates. Approval of purchase of stone dust for Kent Commons walking path.
Yes, so we need new stone dust on the walking path. That's the material that we currently use. It's relatively inexpensive, all things considered. And when we walked it, John, myself, Ed, we walked it, and it just needs to be kind of top dressed with new stone dust. No real ways about it. And a lot of the trail got so narrow from grass and weeds kind of infringing on the sides. So we need to widen those parts. So I got a quote from O&G. They have the state bid on the material, and it came in, sorry, this one came in just the other day as well. Just give me 1 second here. It came in at just over $1,000, but that would be for 23 tons, which should cover the entire trail and then leave us a little bit for touch-ups when we have erosion problems, etc., until those problems can be more adequately addressed. So just give me 1 second while I pull up that quote, and I will let you know exactly what we're looking at. All right.
Jared, it's been helpful to have all of the course, the supplementary content for these meetings and that drive box and attached to the agenda.
Yeah, did that work for everyone?
It makes it a
Can
little
we
easier
talk
to
about the
follow
stone
along.
dust, please?
I'm just letting him know since he's trying to pull up the
Yeah, this
file.
one I honestly I didn't even put in there. I forgot, so that's my fault. It would be $1,108.80 for 24 tons. The truck would hold between 23 and 24, so we'd be somewhere at 1108.80 or below. And like I said, that would cover the entire trail plus leave us a little stockpile in the back corner of the parking lot, which I think would be good to have on hand because we are going to have runoff, washout, etc.
So did you get 3 bids for this?
It's on state contract, so we're exempt from that.
And who is this delivering it?
ONG.
And
Jared,
who's
how does
gonna
that,
spread it?
yeah, how does that get spread out?
Ed's gonna have to do that. He has the machinery for it.
Can you tell me about the state contract thing? Because this is in our bylaws, so.
Well, a state bid means that competitive bidding was already done. So basically anything that's on a state contract was already been pre-approved as the best price for that material. So, like basically, let's say, trying to think of another example of something. Let's say the state at the beginning of every year will go out to bid on hundreds of different items. This is done federally, it's done at the state level, sometimes even done at the town level, although I don't know if we have anything. But the state will go out to bid on hundreds of items, and then companies throughout the state will submit their pricing on those items. Whichever company is selected as per the state, whichever company is selected to have the best bid and is contracted with through the state, then exempts any municipality within the state from needing to go to get 3 prices.
So it creates some efficiency.
Exactly. And like I said, that's done on the federal level. It's also done like my town in New York, because we were larger. We would get every year quotes on all different things. And then basically throughout the year, I would just call the company and say, hey, I'm with the town of Kent and I want to go off quote number XYZ. Bing, bang, boom.
That's how we've done it before. So I move to, if there's no more discussion, I move to, we purchase that stone dust.
Second, please.
I second that.
Any discussion?
That usually comes right out of New Milford. I
They're
believe.
coming from Woodbury.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. Basically, the way Rick told
Rick.
me is New Milford, it would have to be freight trucked to New Milford.
Oh, then load it onto another
Basically,
truck.
they don't necessarily store it all there. So Woodbury is the closest direct storage quarry, whatever.
So it's gonna be left in our parking lot, not the town garage?
No, it's going to be in the back, basically the back corner of the parking lot by where all those, remember we were looking at those down trees and everything?
Okay.
Anything else on that?
Did we vote? Yes.
Assessment of trees,
I don't know if we voted, Lynn.
pardon me?
I don't know if we held a vote after the
We
second.
didn't vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Sorry, thank you. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Oh, thank you. Any opposed?
What, honey? Yeah.
Any
honey.
opposing?
Sorry, everybody. Got a kid here.
Motion carries. Now we can move to the assessment of trees at the parks. Have you had that?
No, not yet.
Okay,
Yeah, John so the guy could only come when I'm at ASP. So John and Rick are going to walk the parks with the tree warden, Bruce. And I suspect we'll have to cut down several trees. I mean, we already saw a few when we were walking the other day. So you guys definitely expect quite a bit of tree work to need to be done, I'd say.
all right. Updates on the progress of the seasonal maintenance contractor.
Just basically saying what I said before. I always think it's good to, give positive feedback, and Ed has been awesome. We, me, John, and Ed walked the parks, and he really, like I think was said earlier, his knowledge of the parks is fantastic. And he was just really supportive of me and answering questions I had because I'm new. And, already he's been at it. And, as Robert pointed out, he's already hit the fitness trail and working out the ruts and smoothing out the parking lots as well, York raking them. So I'm very pleased with the work he's done so far and his attentiveness. And like I said, the lines of communication have been great. We were talking about getting the stone dust, about getting some, vinegar weed spray from Highway. He's been in touch with Rick. So I'm just very pleased so far. And I wanted to, make you guys aware of that.
Wonderful news.
All right, Emery Park and Camp Kent updates. The report from Kathy.
Yes. So first is that Rick began lowering the water at Emery Park. By now, it should be basically empty, minus the fact that I'm assuming you guys got a lot of rain yesterday. We did where I was, but so it's basically empty. So the first thing I wanted to do was speak with Kathy Weber, who is kind of our rep from the Torrington Area Health District office. She comes and does the water sampling of the pool periodically to make sure that there's no E. coli. And so basically we had a very long discussion about the fact that the Torrington Area Health District used to inspect the pool structure on a whole. Years ago, a decision was made to no longer inspect it because they felt that it did not fit into their criteria of, really any specific set of criteria because of its, because of how unique it is, and that it would be a liability to them as a result. And so they basically put the ball back in the court of the town. But Kathy did come out because I've never managed a facility like this, she did come out to give me her opinion, and I will read her report right now. All right, so this report was made on 3/31/2022, addressed to the commission. Dear commission members, on March 29th, 2022, I visited Emery Park for the purposes of evaluating the condition of the public swimming area / pond. The swimming area falls into a hybrid category of sorts, since it has the appearance of a pool with the decking, fencing, slide, rails to get in and out, and partial concrete sides, yet has a beach on one end and is spring fed with no chlorination. It's my understanding that there are plans to rehabilitate the deteriorated pond, which has been closed for 2 years. The swimming area / pond in its current condition is not safe for use. The following items were noted to be deficient at the time of my visit. The concrete sides are falling into the water. Large debris and growth are visible on the bottom. The beach is overgrown and needs to be dug out and replaced. The decking is uneven and deteriorated. The gauges need to be self-closing and self-latching. Prior to any work being done on the pond, a proposal will need to be prepared by an engineer and submitted to the Torrington Area Health District and the State Health Department for review and approval. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact our office. Copied on this message were Gene Speck, First Selectman, and myself. So that is the first part. And then the second part is we will be having a rep from Kerma, who's our insurer and obviously insures our parks, come and do a risk assessment and basically give us further details on what they believe needs to be done for the pool to be usable, for lack of a better term. Now, before I kind of turn it over to you guys for discussion, I thought a lot about the pool. And, what's interesting about it is it's totally unique. I have never been anywhere nor spoken to anyone who has ever, in my professional circles, who has a facility like this. And, there's that part of me who I respect unique things, and I respect the legacy and the history of a town and how important it is to keep those things alive. However, with respect to this, we are looking at something right now that is in really bad shape. I was there with Kathy. Everything she said is spot on. And that doesn't even begin to touch the issues with the feeder pond in the back, which is, as John knows, has its own set of work jobs that need to be done. I think it's important that the commission really have a discussion on the future of Emery Park Pond or pool. And, you know, I certainly will give you my feedback and opinions, but it's going to take a lot to get this back up and running, a significant amount of work, time, money. It's unlikely it'll be able to be done by the summer at this point. And I think the commission really needs to have a good, healthy discussion about where to go, because what we're looking at right now is it's an incredible amount. And I think the question needs to be asked is this what the community wants moving forward? And if the answer is yes, then we know what we have to do. And if the answer is no, then we need to figure out what we want to do. But either way, that's, you know, that's for you guys, of course, but I just wanted to, you know, put that out there because I've thought a lot about it. And the discussion needs to start now. So I turn it over.
When is that assessment happening that you mentioned?
With Kerma,
Yeah,
I have a call on Wednesday with the risk. Basically, it's the guy from the company who does risk management. And I would expect he's probably not going to be able to make it till the end of the week, beginning of next.
I think that will be important. His thoughts will be important for this discussion, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can discuss it at the next meeting after we have his perspective. Everybody agrees?
We have any idea how much it would cost us to get the engineer that the Torrington Area Health District is recommending? Just so we don't go 2 weeks, decide then that we want to figure that one out and then wait another 2 weeks in the interest of making any kind of decision. If we're really going to actually try to work on it, I think we need to try to get all the information in terms of cost and timeline as quickly as possible.
So Blythe, what I would recommend, and I think that's a really good question and point, with respect to engineering, you know, there's obviously many different phases, and you know, basically anything we do with an engineer is going to cost money. All right. But at the very least, we can, in this next few weeks, get quotes from engineers on putting together then it's the catch-22, right? Just for an engineer to come up with a plan and how much that plan is going to cost will cost us money.
Yep, that's what I'm talking
In and
about.
of itself.
Yeah.
So we're basically asking for a quote on basic design work.
Right.
And that would just be the beginning, because then the basic design work with the fee schedule that they would estimate, it'll cost us money just to get that. So let's say, for example, someone comes in, they say, I'm gonna charge you $2,000 and I'll do all this work and then let you know how much it's gonna cost to actually do the work. That's what we'd be looking at. But I have no problem with reaching out to engineers and just saying, hey, would you guys want to come down to the park? Give us an estimate on, give us a price quote on basically a basic site plan.
I mean, if the health district will not approve our opening of the pool without an engineer's report, it seems smart, at least as we move forward on this one way or the other, to get an engineer on board who can then, you know, so we can make a decision about which engineer to choose based on, we get 3 quotes or something like that to get us a report. I would imagine that, you know, we're going to want to look at everything, at least in terms of how much will it cost us engineering wise, not just risk management wise. I just think it makes sense. I would recommend us considering letting Jared go forward on that piece of it before we then have another meeting where we have a more open discussion. We need to have all the pieces together.
So to bring in a civil engineer,
Yeah, for sure.
or is it a civil engineer or a?
Yeah, civil engineer.
Yeah. I don't know, it just, I'm also wondering, there's another kind of engineer that's deals more with like water bodies.
That's what they do.
Well, I know civil does, but I think there's even a more specific one. An environmental engineer. Just want to make sure we're also, maybe the Torrington Health woman would have some recommendations of the types of engineers we should be engaging for
Yeah,
this
I'm
work.
sure they would. That would honestly, I would, for any engineers I go to contact, I'm gonna check in with her and check in with Donna, the land use office. She knows a lot about that as well.
Yeah,
And
sorry, John,
I would just like to
I
point
feel
out,
like there's a more specific type of engineer, and it's at the top. It's like I can see it, the word, but I just don't have it on the tip of my tongue, which is why I'm asking.
I'm looking online, I can't find it, sorry. I would just like to point out, because Abigail, you mentioned water and it popped into my head. All of this work, since it will be occurring within 200 feet of a water course, that being the stream, is going to require the permitting process through the town as well. So just be prepared, that can be a little bit lengthy as well. So.
And I think
One
once
thing- Go ahead.
oh, go ahead, John.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, once we have this information, I think it would be really helpful to talk to the town, the people, and outline some options, or even just like give them a sense of what we're up against and get some feedback to help inform our decision.
Abigail, sorry, could you say that again? I was looking, now this
Oh,
engineer
I was just
thing
saying, I
is-
think it would be important to solicit feedback from the people on this decision, the town's people, if you will.
I'm sure all of us
I'm in-
given this a lot of thought too. Sorry, Jared, I was gonna say similar
go.
to that, Abigail, I was saying like, you know, and from the correspondence from the gal from the beginning of our meeting, obviously, we're not having this discussion now, but, you know, if we start going forward, you know, with a town pool, I would imagine it's got to involve, this discussion has to involve a lot more people than just this group. It's got to involve, I mean, the school, it's going to involve, you know, everybody involved in town government and obviously the people of Kent. So I think this is a big decision.
Yeah, I agree with you that I don't think it's just the people on the Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, as Lynn said, having the report so we really know what we're looking at and what we're working with will be the first part. But I think, you know, unless this is a hop, skip, and a jump, an easy solution, which I think all of us are kind of bracing for the fact that it's not going to be. I think regardless of how we move forward, I believe there's a lot of opinions in the town regarding Emery, regarding a pool,
100%,
positive,
yeah.
negative, left, right, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm inclined to agree with Kate that, you know, let the people speak. So, but I think let's get our ducks in a row first, see exactly what we're looking at, then we can go from there. And I will, provided you guys want me to, I will start, you know, speaking with engineers and, you know, handling that part as well.
What
I'm
we
gonna
have
make
to,
another plug. Oh, go ahead.
what we have to take into consideration is 341. So just north or just east of the entranceway coming up the hill, past the fencing, a lot of water's come in over the years. So there's like 4 areas where that water comes down the hill onto the highway and into the parks. So you really do need a professional engineer, a civil engineer, to really look it over, because a lot of that water will go from 341 into the park and then into the pool. So yeah, that's a big issue.
Yeah, that sounds-
100%. Oh, sorry, Abigail.
No, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say that
grew up-
makes
I
it
grew up-
sound even less clean to swim in.
I'm not an expert by any means, but I find it very hard. I mean, you could see even in satellite imagery, exactly where the water is running off, and it's no doubt going into the pool. And who knows what it's taking with it on the way, but at the very least, that runoff from the road has got to be,
Oh,
there's got to be stuff getting into that water, you know, whether it's phosphorus, whether it's calcium. I have no idea what the implications are for the water. I also don't know, but I think we all know it's not good. And that's doubly why John's points these past few meetings about how we need to address the drainage is paramount, because it's a hot mess.
So John, I would think that once we bring a civil engineer, that civil engineer would get us a topo map, or would have
Yeah,
to
that's
create a
their job.
topo map
Yeah.
to do the work.
Yeah, no, that's their job. That falls into their criteria. So yeah, I mean, I was going to say the other thing too is as far as pools go, the best thing that you can ever have is a splash pond for kids. Really, seriously. I mean, it draws so many kids. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I
And there's
couldn't agree with you more.
and it's cheaper to have. You know.
This is why I would like to make a plug for our master planning work, because it really would help us understand what our options are for the usage of both of our parks, and thinking about a big piece of infrastructure like a pool or any water feature and other ways of engaging and activating the park. And I think, Jared, you've been amazing in envisioning new ways of using the park, such as the tactical laser tag. I know that you've talked about ultimate frisbee. I think that you have a lot of imagination. And so I think having a partner to think through that with you and with this commission would really help us, you know, get these parks, bring them to life and utilize them in the best way possible.
I think
We
in the
can't
meantime,
wait 5 years to do anything. We have to do stuff now.
I know, so perhaps we have to rethink our request for a master plan to come 5 years from now, since we're really talking about something pretty substantial that needs to be studied.
Well,
You know,
that's
my
the
thoughts
only way we're gonna have the money.
Sorry, Lynn.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll probably be the dissenting opinion in here, and I think it's a conversation for another time. I don't want to drag this on, but we're a small town with very small parks, all things considered. And you'll be the dissenter, but in a positive way, is that I'm not 100% sure that an actual a commissioned master plan is necessary to develop and consider the future of our parks. And I only say that because I have experience in having done that without one, and it's been incredibly successful. So I'm just going to throw that out there as the alternative opinion in the same vein, if you will, in terms of making progress with our parks. But I think it's a conversation, certainly more detailed conversation, a focused conversation for another time. But I think you're right. We need to reinvent and reinvigorate these parks, no doubt about it, 100%.
how about, can we get in touch with Dave at Club Getaway? Maybe we can have a program over there.
Yeah, I already left him a message. He and I are going to try to set something up, because I've never been there to walk and brainstorm and all that. So I haven't heard back from him yet, but we conversed briefly. So
Jared, if Camp Kent is not centered around Emery Park Pool, are you going to need support in ideating how to offer Camp Kent without that?
yeah, I think that's going to be a discussion we really need to have soon as well. Because without the pool, without the pool, Emery Park to me isn't really a suitable place for a camp. And I think we're going to really need to have a discussion about that ASAP, because what do we have at Emery Park, right? We have a playground, and we have woods, and we have the structure, I don't know what you call it, building, shed, which is, in my opinion, too small for its purpose. So I don't know the end game of keeping a camp there. I mean, if and I know, Abigail, you had mentioned this a while back, it sounds like, but the only real suitable location for a camp, in my opinion, if it's not at Emery and it has to be at a municipal or town property, so to speak, would be the schools, and hopefully we'd get some permission to be indoors on rainy days. So that's just something to chew on and think about. Sorry, John, I cut you off. My bad.
That's all right. I was going to say the upper field too at Emery Park is usable. I mean, there's a big open space area there, so.
Yeah.
But a splash pond, I mean, yeah, we should think about, getting in touch with Dave.
Jared, should we put together a subcommittee? And then I don't want to step on your toes and suggesting a subcommittee, but to map out options for Camp Kent? I don't know
I don't
if-
necessarily think that that's entirely necessary, but I mean, that would obviously come from you guys. So if you felt it was what you wanted to do, sorry.
Just trying to figure out how to support you.
Thank you.
And if, just trying to think through if it can't happen at Emery Park, how to support you so it does happen in some way. And I just know that it's slipped through the cracks on us now a couple times. And so I just want to, in whatever way, because I think if it comes back to us doing it at our meetings, it's probably not gonna, I don't know, we might not have, might not be able to get there.
Well, I say give me till the next meeting, and if I feel like I'm not able to handle it without further attention from the commission, I think then I'd say we should set up a subcommittee.
I mean, I would just suggest that maybe you contact, I know that, Marblewood does not have a pool. So we're probably undesirable that way, but we also run our own camp throughout the summer. So I don't think we would be able to help out, but maybe just if you call both South Kent and Kent schools and maybe talk to Club Getaway about the possibilities there. Those are 3 in-town options. Might be able to just knock those out by the next meeting.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, haven't heard back yet from Club Getaway, but that was on my radar. As for what was it? You said South Kent.
South Kent and Kent schools.
Okay.
They don't have, they don't have pools, do they, Blythe? Does Kent have?
Kent school has a pool, but South
They-
Kent,
they
I don't think South Kent does, but they might be willing to host a.
I didn't know Kent had a pool.
Yeah,
I do.
it's in that big field house by the football field.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, yes,
Sunday.
that's right. Yes, that's right. I do remember now. It was locked when I was there one time.
And Jared, I'll just flag for you that KCS hosts their summer skills program from the 5th of July to the 21st of July, and that's in the morning. And so that's basically summer school. So
Oh.
sometimes they don't like having people playing on the playgrounds and stuff during it.
Okay. Well, then that obviously kills that noise right there. So, all right. Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely, do you guys have a contact over at South Kent? I've been trying to get a hold of them regarding this basketball clinic, and I'm not getting a response. So, anybody?
Pedro Garcia.
Yeah.
Who?
Pedro Garcia.
Yeah, I've reached out to him twice. I haven't heard back, unfortunately. Lynn, did he ever get back in touch with you? No.
I don't think I texted him. I think
I will see him this Wednesday.
Yeah, ask him, John. You can even give him my cell phone. Ask him just to give me a shout.
Yeah. No problem.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I will I'll begin diving into that and determining the best way to move forward.
Thanks, Jared.
And those gates, by the way, they were chained at the front of the pool, and then the back one was never chained. So all those gates are operative.
Got it. Yeah, the back one, we need to lock that up ASAP. So I'll see if I could just grab a lock and do that tomorrow, because we can't have a 7-foot drop in there with no water in the bottom. Someone's gonna get killed. So I'll grab a lock from Home Depot tomorrow and throw it on there.
Thanks, Jared.
No problem. And then, yeah, just John, going back to that, the gates, they're definitely not self-latching, or at least the back one isn't. So that's what she was.
Oh, it
talking
is.
about.
It is.
It
Somebody,
is, we just spent lots of money doing that.
yeah, I fixed it again. Somebody's been fooling around with it. So, yeah. So,
Yeah, when we were there, it didn't close when we opened it. So
yeah, you just have to, you have to move that metal piece. I'll show you how to do it.
the spring thing on the bottom,
Yeah, yeah.
got it.
Anything else on that? Move to ASP Director Search, nothing new there. ARPA funding proposal.
Sorry, ASP Director Search. Are you guys cool with me putting up another ad for ASP? I mean, we already have the description, we already have previous ads that I could just duplicate. Is there some kind of a motion we have to do to get this going again?
Go
You
ahead,
wanna
do
wait?
it. We can make a motion.
Yeah, just go ahead and do it.
Go to
Yeah.
motion, Blythe, please, if you don't mind.
Move to re-advertise the ASP director position.
Have a second?
We
Second.
put that as something that's just ongoing that he does until it's found, so we don't have to, he doesn't have to wait for a motion.
Can I have a second to the motion, please?
A second.
Thank you, Kate. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? It pretty much is, Abigail. It's just better off to have the motion than not. That's why I asked Blythe to just throw it out there quickly. ARPA funding proposal.
Yeah, so we're still basically where we were the last time, which is, we need some numbers. We can't move forward without numbers.
Well, we're booked in there for 75, right? Barbara did that, 75,000.
Yeah, we're in there for 75, but she really would like to see something on paper from somebody with experience and credentials.
Well, that's where the civil engineer would come in as well.
So are we hiring a civil engineer to bring, to work on this with us?
Well, that's a proposal that should be, yeah, we should bring that up right now. Put a bid out there, see who can come in.
And what is the work that we're asking the civil to do?
Storm mediation. Stormwater mediation.
It makes sense to roll this and the examination of the pool together into
Yep.
one.
Yep.
Okay.
Jared, I'll get together with you and we'll talk about more about that if it gets approved tonight.
You want to work on an RFP? What are we approving?
Yeah, but yeah, let's kind of really narrow the focus, because I'm actually kind of confused, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm pretty confused too.
So here's just to lay it all out there, right? Emery Park Pool, the drainage part aside, just what Kathy Weber from TAHD said, that is one aspect of something that is one problem that we need to solve. All right, so let's put that up in bubble A. The second problem we need to solve at Emery is the runoff issue, which is related to the pool because we have to believe that the water is going into the pool. So that's the stormwater management issue that John just mentioned. The third bubble is the stormwater management issue that also exists at Kent Commons Park, which is continuously eroding the trail and creating, boggy area by the pavilion and the playground. So those are the three bubbles of work that needs to be done, and how we do them may all come in different fashions, right? So, as John came up with the idea let's try to get some ARPA funding for the runoff issues at both parks. But then with requests to the pool, well, that would be a capital project. And it's my understanding that funds have already been set aside. So we're like crisscrossing spheres and different sources of funding. So, what the best way to proceed is not totally clear to me, we'll say. I haven't put enough thought into it yet, so.
So should we perhaps, I know we have funding for Emery Park Pool. I think it's about $100,000. Should we use that, some of that money to get bids for a civic and environmental engineer? Hopefully a civic would have one on their team to do an assessment of Emery Park to understand the hydrology, how the water moves through it, the deal with the feeder pond and the pool, and look at it holistically at one shot and use the money that we have for Emery Park Pool to pay for that. And I
In
don't,
theory,
I'm
that
like
makes sense.
not assuming that like we're doing that and gonna have that all done before summer camp, but perhaps that's the best course of action for looking at Emery Park.
In theory, it makes sense. However, because capital funds are earmarked for specific projects, we would need to be certain that that work would fall into the current scope of what the capital funds were set aside for. If not, then that is a whole nother animal of going back to the Board of Selectmen and asking for that money to be reallocated. And I don't know the answer to that question. And Lynn, you may be the best person. Do you know, with respect to those capital funds, exactly how they can be spent? What is the wiggle room with respect to how they can be used?
If it's for the pool, it has to be for the pool. You have to go to a town meeting to have it changed.
Would you say the drainage, the stormwater management practice issues, because they relate to the pool, may be considered applicable?
I think that would be a change of use.
Got it. So therein lies the rub.
Well, but would we be able to use the budgeted funds for the pool study, just the pool study, not the drainage, the stormwater thing, and then use the ARPA money for both, the drainage issues, the runoff and stuff at Emery, but also the drainage issues at Kent Commons? I mean, you've got
I'm
money
sorry,
sitting
Bryce.
there you've got money sitting there in the budget for the maintenance of the pool. If we can't even open, we've got to figure out if we can even open the pool. So that money for the pool might be sufficient to fund the civil engineer or whoever who might come out and look at the pool per se. If you keep the rainwater, the runoff, and drainage issues separate for both parks, that might be the ARPA funding. I don't know.
I think the
I think
drain
it's something
problem
that
should be
would,
done by the state. The state did that, they need to fix it. That shouldn't be coming out of our funds, but. I don't know how we'll
And
get
I would
that.
think that as part of looking at the pool, the drainage issue will become an issue of the pool if an engineer is looking at the pool. They're not going to not look at the slope from the road running into the pool. They're gonna look at it. So I think we should perhaps accept that. Maybe we don't charge them. We don't say that that's like what we're asking them. We're asking them to look at the pool, but if they're doing their job right, they're gonna look at that.
Well, theoretically, couldn't we find the person that we choose who can look at both the pool and the other issues altogether? So it's not like one guy is looking at the pool and another guy is looking but not saying anything about the runoff.
Yeah, that would make the most sense.
Maybe you could get the one guy who does all the Kent Commons and the two different things at Emery, which are probably inextricably related. But you can actually draw some of the funding for the Emery study from the budget, and the remaining for Emery and all of it for Kent Common from the ARPA funding. I don't know if that's how it works. I'm just saying. But I think we're getting, I would like to suggest, I think we're getting in the weeds here a little bit. And in the interest of maybe moving on, if this was not supposed to be our discussion about the pool, maybe we wait, let Jared do his legwork here in terms of, getting in touch with Torrington Area Health District, seeing who they might recommend, getting in touch with a couple of engineers, following up with the guy about the risk management from the insurance, maybe talking to the schools and to Club Getaway about the camp so that we can bring it all back together and make that a big focus of our discussion in the next meeting.
Consider it done, Blythe.
That's great.
Makes
Thank you.
perfect sense.
Any more on that subject? Move on. Budget for the fiscal year 23 update, revision, revenue projections.
Excuse me. Barbara emailed and asked us to update, solidify, confirm our revenue projections. So it just brings up the question again about fees for programs. I think that our best bet right now is to assume that we're going to be charging $25 a program for those town run specific programs, not fee programs. And basically, if in the future we decide to raise the fee as well, then we will increase our revenue. It's only a bonus, but basically I just wanted to make sure I was, clear with what I needed to do with respect to the budget. I mean, is everyone good with me doing that and submitting it to Barbara?
Are you going to have to make any kind of adjustment in, or at least a guess adjustment in terms of any kind of revenue that would come in from Camp Kent if we're not going to be able to find a place to have it?
Yeah, I mean, that though, unfortunately, those things can't really be. Sometimes you plan for a program and it doesn't run. Sometimes you don't plan for it and you decide to run it, i.e. tactical laser tag. So I think the Board of Selectmen are well aware of, the struggles that we have, and there's a level of understanding that comes along with that. Because also, one thing you have to realize too is that if you don't have the revenue, you also don't have the expense. So in theory, it kind of becomes a wash almost.
Yep.
So.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm good with what you propose.
I mean, it's really not going to be rocket science. It's just going to be simple math. The math may already be good. I haven't had a chance to do it, but I do want to get that done this week. And I didn't want to do it if it wasn't my place to do it. So.
You have my vote.
Thank you, Kate.
I feel
Jared,
comfortable.
if you want to
with that.
put to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Abigail.
I just said I feel comfortable with that.
Jared, if you want to do it up and send it over to me, I can just proofread or look it over.
Yeah, that sounds good. I appreciate that. That's perfect.
5-year capital plan updates. I don't think we have anything. Nobody, Board of Finance or Selectmen haven't done anything with that.
I haven't heard anything. So.
Bylaws and Constitution Committee updates. I don't think you
Lynn,
guys have had
you were
anything.
gonna introduce us to the lawyer.
I can
and
give you her
I welcome
number.
that.
I can't remember.
I
what her-
welcome you to. Oh, when we
Sorry.
spoke at the last meeting, you said you were gonna do an introduction via email for the whole subcommittee.
I believe I said I was going to give you her information, and then she just wanted to know when the next Bylaws and Committee and Constitution Committee meeting was, so that she could meet with you guys and go over things.
Great. Can you email us all her information?
I can give you her phone number right now. I don't remember what her email is.
Please don't
and
give
I-
her phone number over a Zoom meeting that's public.
It's a public phone number. It's her business. It's
Okay.
Kramer and
whatever
Anderson
you
and
guys
Kent.
do.
It's 927-3568.
I'd really appreciate it in an email. Thank you.
Okay, well, unfortunately, we're
Just
not
so I
supposed
can
to
follow
converse
it.
through
I just need to
email.
be able to, I need it in an email, Lynn, so I have it, so I can follow up with her.
Okay,
Is
well,
that
we're not
really
supposed to
impossible?
communicate through emails, Abigail. I try to get you to understand this, but
I know, but this, okay, forget it, Lynn.
her, you
I'll,
can look up her phone number. It's Kramer and Anderson and Kent. It's not a secret.
and I'm not trying to make it a secret. I'm just trying to be able to follow through with the thing that I'm trying to do. But I got it.
Okay, and you can call her assistant Kellyanne and get her email address, and then you can invite her to your next meeting.
What's her name, the lawyer's name?
Lori, Lorry, Shiesel, Shiesel.
You said Lorri?
Why?
Lorry.
It's Dolores. It's short for Lori's short for Dolores.
Got it.
Right, playing field subcommittee update, anything there?
I just want to let everybody know that we had, so our last treatment of the fiscal year, but first treatment of the calendar year of the fields there, they did lime and fertilizer, as per the previous, previous agreement with New England Turf Management. So moving forward, but I did want to bring up, we are going to need to really, John mentioned this earlier today. He shot me an email real quick. We're going to need to look at the structures there, those backstops, the sheds, and basically determine the best path forward. Sounds like we really need a new shed, and we will probably have money in the budget to do it. So I'd like to at least start getting some quotes and thinking about size and all that. I mean, am I good to just do that and start, brainstorming and getting numbers together? Is everybody cool with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Superb. Excellent. So
Can we make
yeah,
a
that's-
motion? Somebody like to make a motion for that, please?
We need a motion to allow him to start getting quotes, or we're waiting for the quotes?
I don't care. When we make decisions, we should have motions.
Make a motion that Jared be authorized to get some quotes on equipment or buildings, structures, whatever that he needs.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anything on the master plan?
I just would like to just follow up on what Jared said about facilitating it here as a group or led by Jared, and advocate that we bring in somebody to do this with us. I think it will help us move forward in a civil way with the input of our town in a very productive way when the time comes.
New business, the teen center. I'm not going to put too much discussion into this. It's just something that's been brought to my attention and something we've thought about for a long time. There's been a couple of different options, but since Jared and Michael cleaned out the closet, that was, back up a little bit. I was thinking of downstairs at the community house, doing a couple Fridays a month or every Friday or whatever, and see how it goes. We would have a chaperone or two, discuss certain ages, just some place for the kids to go hang out on a Friday night for a couple hours. And since I was thinking that if we did it at the community house downstairs, you'd have to keep putting stuff away, pulling it out, whatever we had. And I was trying to think of a more permanent spot where we could put up a TV with a small gaming system that wouldn't have to be put away, or foosball tables or whatever, couches, things like that. So just something if we want to think about and put it further and see what everybody thinks about it.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, it is clear as day that teens are without a doubt underserved. I can't say in the community on a whole, but definitely by Parks and Rec, just simply because that's where we are right now. What is the bottom used for? I know the food pantry does stuff down there. Is that correct?
They have a room before you go into the actual downstairs.
Yep.
It's in between the two doorways.
Okay.
The
So what's
outside
the
door and-
room, the room where the closet is, just the open space? Is that actually used for anything or?
Yes, they have meetings. You can, like for weddings or whatever, you can rent the upstairs, downstairs, or the whole building. They are listed as two different rentals, upstairs and downstairs. So
Yeah.
you can rent just the downstairs for meetings or whatever. We used to have our corned beef and cabbage dinner down there. We used it for the Halloween haunted house. Whatever. They do the cooking down there if there's weddings and stuff. They'll use the kitchen, and downstairs might be like the wedding parties room type thing, or all different things.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of potential in the community house on a whole period, but downstairs there's, it certainly needs to be, it would need to be kind of set up, cleaned up a little bit. It's kind of a ugly, nondescript room down there, but I think a lot can be done. And I think that would be a great thing to be
Yep.
able to offer the teens in the community. 100%. Like I kind of envision it almost having like a teen equivalent of a coffee house type feel with activities and games and couches and whatever. Obviously, not necessarily, we can't hold all that stuff. It's not our building, but I already see kind of where your mind's going with that, Lynn. And I think there's a lot of potential and something that could certainly be knocked out. Something we can maybe get up and running for the next school year timeline.
In the vision, is it monitored or is it open? Is somebody
It's
there?
Absolutely
Chaperoned in any
monitored.
way? And so do we pay somebody to do that? Is
Depends.
that like
Maybe we
looking
have
for
a
an
parent
ASP
volunteer.
director? Okay.
I would like to see some parent volunteers do it.
That makes
Because that's
sense.
what the teens want, is their parents right there.
I
was
know,
actually
but
gonna my-
maybe you put the screen down and they hang out in the kitchen or something. It doesn't have to be right on top of the kids, but
Yeah, of course.
you
of
definitely
course.
have to have a chaperone around. All right. That is the end of our agenda. The next Park and Rec Commission regular meeting is April 18th at 7 p.m. Anybody have anything else they want to add? We can adjourn this meeting at 8:25. Thank you very much. Less than an hour and a half. Good job.
Thanks. Good night.
Night,
Night.
everyone.
Bye, Michael.
Hi, y'all.
See you, Abigail.
Good night.
Bye, Kate.